rebels have established a base on the far side of our perimeter. Deploy the scout walkers to escort the AT-AT and crush those rebels.
Yes, Lord Vader. Move out.
So I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Battlefront lately, and yes, I've gotta say, it's a great looking game and it totally represents the Star Wars brand well. But I've gotta say, as a gamer on the other hand, you can't help but feel like there's a few things missing here and there. But that doesn't mean that this can't be fixed in the future. So here's a look at the 3 things that I think are missing from Star Wars Battlefront and how they can be addressed for the future. See, Star Wars Battlefront does many things right, but what is blatantly seen as the best part of the game is the way it looks. It looks like a genuine Star Wars game, and in a world of first-person shooters feeling like the same actor playing the same role just in new costume, the visual and audible designs of the blasters, stormtroopers, and more give gamers a definitive vantage point when comparing it to other titles in the related market. But that's just it. It's possible that Battlefront relies a little too much on its visual and nostalgic appeal. While its upcoming movie, The Force Awakens, adds yet another chapter onto its iconic story, players are almost given no opportunity to play through what's already been told in the years before, and given no insight as to what's to come because there's no campaign, ultimately making it so that if you lived under a rock and knew nothing about Star Wars but then picked up Battlefront, you would have close to no idea what was going on because it relies on you already knowing. But for fans, I think the desire is quite the opposite. While we may already know the story, we want to feel like we're living and playing through it ourselves, and the minuscule cutscenes just don't get it done. And after multiple rounds of battles, sometimes a little context connecting things and reminding you what you're doing it all for helps make things feel a little more complete.
R2, where did you go?
On the other hand, Star Wars Battlefront is another piece of this recent wave of shooters where things ultimately feel a little shallow, and its ranking system seems to be the developer's distraction. But the problem with that is that there's not terribly too much to rank up for. In a game where not dying is not terribly important, being respawned after in the back of a map when players are on the other end is both irritating and honestly gives players a chance to run back, wondering if it's even worth it. And most of the time when I need him most, my partner is unavailable to jump ahead. So after finding parts of the gorgeous landscape that seem like you should be able to easily get on, and finding out shortly after that, well, you can't, these things start to add up. But it's the ranking system that lets you unlock new weapons and cards because chances are you don't care about most of the costume upgrades and really any of the emotes. The funny thing is that to get the stuff you want, it requires a lot of work and a lot of time, and that's not bad at all. It's just after you get what you want, you've lost a large part of your motive for playing. Sure, you have the fact that you have better equipment to take on the competition, but it hardly changes the modes you've already put hours into just to get that jump pack you wanted so badly. And when you're not fighting to find out the next part of the story or to really earn anything new, then well, what are you fighting for? See, ultimately what can make or break the lifespan of Star Wars Battlefront is its DLC, and at a $50 season pass price, gamers are already screaming for it to put up or shut up, especially after already paying $60 just to get the game. With the Battle of Jakku DLC launching first and for free, its hero will be able to get a taste of the future for this particular title. Ultimately, the Season Pass details more of the same, and that's a little alarming. 20 new weapons, vehicles, and star cards, 16 additional multiplayer maps with some new locations, and 4 game modes is definitely a lot, but it's definitely not life-changing, unless these weapons and star cards are worth the $110 altogether. Ultimately, what will sell the pass is the chance to play as 4 more heroes and villains, but again, that's banking on pulling on the nostalgia strings again. Come on, we want a single-player expansion. Star Wars Battlefront is a fun game for now, and for the future every now and then, but there's definitely a few holes here and there that if filled would make it that much more fun. There's a look at my top 3 things that are missing, but what are yours? Feel free to let us know in the comments, and for more on Star Wars Battlefront and everything else related to the Force, keep it locked to Digital Trends.